Now we are proceeding, well, we've heard about the middle, long-term strategies, scenarios, what can actually happen in Ukrainian energy system. And now let's go to the real cases and real investors, because we are here to talk more practically. And that's why at this quite short panel, I want to talk with real investors, the companies that are members of our association, as we are joining key investors in Ukrainian renewables in different sectors and in different technologies. So I welcome to the stage three of them. Victoria Pysmenna from Elementum Energy. Elementum is a British company. Currently the biggest foreign investor in Ukrainian renewables. I also want to welcome Olga Kovalchuk, I see Olga, from Goldbeck Solar. It's a German company that is entering Ukrainian market. And from Emergy, I would welcome Yuliia Kovaliv. Emergy is a Norwegian company that has been working already in Ukraine. So we have different representatives from different countries and from different companies that are focusing on slightly different technologies. So I would like to start with, I think we'll start with you, Victoria. Yeah? I want to ask you several questions. Basically, that would be for question for all of you, ladies. So I want you to share your insights of working on Ukrainian market or entering the Ukrainian market with renewable projects. So tell us more about your existing assets. What are you doing currently, and what are you planning to do? Where you want to invest and why?
Okay, all right, thank you. I think my summary would be brief. It can be summarized only in 2 words. It's been a rocky road. So, as currently Elementum Energy is focused on basically several streams of business. One is asset management. We have a nice portfolio of our 0.5 gigawatt of solar electricity. We also have a wind park of 100 megawatt in Odessa region. And currently we're also developing more than 400 megawatts of additional wind capacities. I think that I have a nice slide about that, but
we'll have a presentation. Yes. Yes.
I guess that would be later. That would be later. So yeah, and we believe that as one of the leaders of the market, we are poised to be part of the great transition. And that is why we, despite the full-scale innovation and because of our positive experience with completing the Dnistrovska wind park amid the full-scale invasion, we kept developing, and right now we are close to starting the construction of the Danube wind park. Apart from this Danube wind park that is supposed to be located in Odessa region, we are also testing our pilot project with the storage system. It will be co-located with our operating wind park, and we are also considering the cases for the storage system for the solar projects, but that would be the plan after we actually run our first pilot. And when we are thinking about our plans and perspectives, and I think that we could hit the next slide, we are also thinking what we as a company can do for Ukraine to help it to reach its goal. There are obvious goals, like we all know that in Ukraine there are plenty of blackouts, so increasing the output of generation is vital. But where we, thank you. Where we could be more useful is in increasing the wind park portfolio. From what we've heard and from we frequently hear from different states, and not only the state stakeholders, that wind is poised to become the driver of the renewable energy targets reaching in the coming years. We understand also that wind parks are quite capital-intensive projects, and there are quite a few obstacles and additional ones in relation to the full-scale invasion emerged. These are the obstacles, but of course they are manageable. One of the main physical obstacles is the lack of the war insurance for the for the large-scale projects. And usually, to benefit from the economies of scale, you are not interested in smaller wind parks unless this is sort of the pilot project. Like we have currently our project that we are going to start building is under 100 megawatts. But what the industry usually operates are the numbers well exceeding 100 of megawatts or higher. It depends, of course, on the economics and other conditions of the project. Apart from the war risk insurance, we also understand that there is many challenges in logistics. To put it briefly, the logistics are flawed. You need to plan regarding the routes. You might not use the previous routes for the delivery of the wind turbines, and this is very complex equipment. This is heavy equipment. This is the equipment that requires usually the sea transportation that might not be available for several projects. So it is getting more and more complicated. Usually the risk is just just cheering towards the customer, while previously, before the full-scale invasion, this was usually the risk of the wind turbine producers that was just competing for the customer in Ukraine. Right now, we are sharing more of the risk with the wind turbine manufacturers. And apart from that, there are, of course, the issue of the guaranteed offtake, but I'm sure that this would be covered in other presentations. It was partially covered in the EURM presentation as well. So this is something that stops the exponential growth of renewables in Ukraine, but we believe that we are in a better position as an active investor in Ukraine to keep developing. And what we actually learned and what insights from our years of operation in Ukraine is that in the situation that we have right now, it is, well, we cannot nobody can foresee all of the risk. The different mechanism of support, the flexibilities of regulations is something that matters. There were good examples of the great regulations that were on time. I'm not going to focus on the bad regulations today too much, but I just wanted to highlight that when first the parliament and then the regulator supported the idea of switching off the sales under the feed-in tariff. It allowed the company like ours to learn from the market experience what it is actually to be on the free market. And this is super insightful and valuable in experience, given that the feed-in tariff expires in 2013 and we want to be and we will be prepared because of the corpus of knowledge that we accumulated during that time. Unfortunately for solar didn't start long on this no feed-in tariff support scheme, but we are still operating our wind park on the purely merchant risk basis. And this is just one of the examples where there was some room for adaptability and some good cooperation between the market players and the state actors that are also interested into ensuring that there is the increasing share of renewables that and additional megawatts can be put to the energy system. Another one is, for example, willingness to the parliament to support also the extension of what we call a cash method. It might sound too complicated and unclear, but for us, the renewable asset managers that face the periods when the receivables under the feed-in tariff were well beyond 20%, additional payment of the VAT on the top of the sums that we haven't received is something that might lead to the bankruptcy, actually. So we always welcome the constructive approach from the regulators that are supporting this initiative. And when we are elaborating on this experience and seeing how it was important for us to go through this super complicated period that was for the most in renewable sector, the first half of 2022, we believe that we need to take one main lesson from this period is that we need to strive to several different coexisting mechanisms. Since the obstacles, circumstances, challenges will be changing, the new issues will be emerging, it's important to be able to shift between either support schemes or introduce something new. Like we can take example from the auctions. There are many discussions regarding why auctions are not attractive, and I think that the obvious answer is because the auctions mostly would be beneficial for the newcomers, and currently they are not sufficient to attract the bids because the lots are small, right? And there is also the history with the retroactive decrease of the feed-in tariff, and there should be the momentum where the trust with the state is rebuilt. So I think that this is something that should exist in Ukrainian regulations, but at the same time there should be alternative, like this de-risking mechanism that is on which a number of players are working. We believe that this can also be something beneficial for the new players as well for the existing ones, but we of course would like to have more details regarding this mechanism as active developers in Ukraine. We know that first we need to test and then to make the conclusions. And for those players that are already active in Ukraine, we believe that maybe concentrating more on the sales would matter, and this would be the key mitigation strategy for the risk of the off-take. So increasing the competencies inside the team, building the expertise in-house, and also showing and also learning for this new period post-2030, when there would be no feed-in tariff for the large-scale generation, is something that's also on the table. So basically, my main takeaway from this is that a lot might change in the coming months, in the coming years, but when we build a system that thinks about the potential and current investors, somebody who is striving to just keep the adequate returns and provide the opportunities for flexibility, we might indeed increase this share of renewables and ensure that there are more low-carbon electricity flowing in Ukrainian grids.
Thank you very much, Victoria. So as we see, there are currently investors that are looking into wind and collocation of renewables with storage. That's basically the real example of the cases that we have been discussing in the previous panel. Now I want to give the floor to you, Olga. Could you please tell us about the plans of Goldbeck Solar? Because as of now, you do not have assets in Ukraine, and you started actually considering Ukraine. Was it before the war, but you actively started during the full-scale invasion, right?
I will come to that.
Yeah.
But it was after.
Okay, good, good.
Sounds good. I have a couple of slides. Maybe it's easier if I stand. So, hi everyone. My name is Olga Kovalchuk. I'm the managing director of Goldbeck Solar Investment Ukraine. A very quick intro to the company. We'll have it very quick for the audience here. We are a family-owned business and have been in the market for almost 25 years by now. So in the next year, we are making actually a quarter-year anniversary. And in the span of that time, we have realized more than 3.5 gigas in 20 countries across the globe. We are having right now operation maintenance portfolio of more than 3 gigas, so providing O&M services to our own projects, but also third parties. And we have roughly 500 megawatt, half of gigas on our own books. So as you see here, so we are very international company, so scattered across the globe and different geographies. We are headquartered here in Germany, south of Frankfurt, not far from Heidelberg, Mannheim, and yeah, have a rep offices in different locations. As a company, we cover the full value chain of realization cycles of solar plus BAS assets, so starting from project development, structuring the finance, so we cover the full REP EPC, O&M services, separate colleagues would take care of technical and commercial asset management for the operational plans to make sure that they run technically and commercially in the optimal and efficient way. This is our presence across the globe. So you see, starting from different countries in Latin America up to Kazakhstan, where we are doing all our aspects and providing EPC and O&M services. I stand here though for Ukraine, right? So, and I think there was back a question from Anastasiia. Yes, we have taken the decision to enter cautiously Ukraine after the full-scale war invasion in Ukraine has started. That decision was done on the number of premises, as we see Ukraine as a strategic market from our perspective. How we tackle that? So we put us up a target to realize up till 500 megawatts in Ukraine. Focusing originally on solar only. That target has evolved in the span of a time, so what we are looking into right now is realizing up till 500 megawatt of solar, including BAS, so we are speaking basically about the hybrid project. We set up that target for the next 3 to 5 years. How do we want to realize that? So what we have taken as a decision on as a company, we are not taking any development risk in Ukraine. This can look differently for a number of markets, but here we are buying the projects from the local developers, which are at ready-to-build stage. So we are making sure that the projects are bankable from the ESG, from the financial, from the technical perspective. And here is one of the key takeaways and lessons learned from the process. So we have screened a huge number of projects, just to give you the figure, more than 60, whereas we had to decline a significant number due to a number of reasons. And if I have here the local players, the local Ukrainian developers in the audience, my recommendation would be to watch out for all the topics that has to do with the ESG criteria. So this was one of the reasons why, unfortunately, we had to decline a large number of projects, even though, but technically and economically, they could have been possible. One correction, Anastasiia, so we have acquired our first project. I will go to that in a second, in central Ukraine. And we are providing, as a group, all the auxiliary services, meaning EPC, O&M, and asset management services to the project, of course, in conjunction and close partnership with the Ukrainian players and companies that we are working on. On the project finance, so we are structuring it on the asset basis, on the non-recourse long-term basis, and the key for us is the availability of the war risk investment guarantee. This was one of the reasons why we have taken the original decision to enter Ukraine. This is a predominant condition from our side because we need our investments to be secured by the German government, and I will explain you that in a second. The offtake strategy, it has been mentioned for a couple of times already here. So we have structured our investments based on the corporate PPA offtake. However, we all, and we are not the only player here in the room, we see that this is the most challenging bit in the market. So working on it for more than 1 year, I can with a full insurance tell you this is the most challenging and the most difficult bit, and this is the reason why all the players here are coming together and working on the de-risking platform, which is so badly needed to the market. So basically, the offtake right now is extremely limited, hardly available, and this is one of the biggest challenges to work on the Ukrainian market right now. What have been reached so far? So in order to realize our targets for Ukraine, We have partnered with EBRD on the equity side, so where we have established a joint venture called Goldbeck Solar Investment Ukraine. That has happened at the last URC in Berlin. Also in Berlin, we have signed our deal with DEG, where DEG, with a great support from the German government, is providing us the loan for the acquisition and the financing of the projects. And we have signed our memorandum of understanding with the Ukrainian government, specifically with the Ministry of Energy of Ukraine, supporting us with our targets. On top of that, we have acquired our first project, and our project was the first solar project the German government has granted the investment guarantee to. So this was a huge milestone from our perspective, and a great support, and lots of thank you to the German government for from our side for that. What I'm happy to announce here and today is that last week there was a signing ceremony happening between the German and the Ukrainian governments, which took place in Kiev, where we have partnered on the financing side with Green for Growth. Also many thanks to the support of the German government here, which enabled us the start of construction of the first solar plant that is happening. Thank you very much, and yeah, welcome.
Thank you, Olga. I think that is very exciting, given the fact that you are actually one of those investors that started actively working on the projects after the full-scale invasion, because, it's not a secret that a lot of companies are struggling with that, despite the fact that they wanted to, or they even developed the project before full-scale invasion. So thank you for your courage. I'm really glad that you had the opportunity to get the insurance from German government, and I think that is something that other companies in Germany are also considering. We have another member that also received this insurance, and that is Notus, and we will be talking with Hannes on the next panel on that. I want to talk with you, Yuliia. So you're representing Emergy. Emergy has been on Ukrainian market for a while already. So you were developing the project previously, and now you're also working on the development of the new project. So please tell us, what are you doing right now? What are the focuses? What are the technologies? And what do you want to do with these newly built plants?
Thank you. So Emergy is a Norwegian company based in Oslo, the developer of renewable energy, predominantly wind. I think, as it was mentioned, the Ukrainian legacy of many renewable developers, it's a roller coaster. That's probably is for Emergy as well, but being a Nordic company with this Nordic resilience and the spirit, the company is back in Ukraine. We have been in Ukraine over 8 years. Was the ups and downs, meaning that the company developed the team, the core Emergy team developed the 250 megawatt project. Sevash were the first to bring the strategic foreign investor to Ukraine to get the funding, one of the most, I think, complicated in Ukrainian market, led by EBRD, together with the 7 other DFIs joined, almost finished, like the construction pre-2022. Unfortunately, the project itself is now on the temporary occupied territory, with the additional several stages of the big project in Zaporizhia region, where the company heavily invested in the development, which is also now on the temporary occupied territory. But meanwhile, the company continue. We're the renewable developer. We are bringing the projects up to ready to build, as it was mentioned, with a very high quality target in terms that they are bankable, whether it's the technological, land, legal, and what is also important, ESG side. Now we are working on the key market for us, and I'll probably switch to the next slide. It's Serbia, Romania, Greece, and Ukraine. The company made a decision mid of this year to be back in Ukraine with the development of the new wind project in the western part of Ukraine, with several stages up to 300 megawatt. And what I can say from the company's experience, because we can compare, not only focused on what we face in Ukraine, but also compare how it is to develop the renewable projects in Ukraine and in the other markets. The other thing I want to address, as we are now divesting part of our portfolio projects, specifically this year, we already closed one of the deals in Serbia, and are preparing for the market sounding for our divestments of some of the projects, including the part of them in Romania. We are also talking with a lot of investors in renewable in the CE region, and while we are talking about specific projects, we are also, as a company, saying we are in Ukraine, we are continue to develop, having the new project development in Ukraine, and also it's interesting, and I can share you some of the insights what we hear. So in terms of the development in Ukraine, I think we need to be proud because the time and the efforts that will take from the greenfield to ready to build, it's much shorter than in many of the countries of the region. In Ukraine, with enough funding and the capable team, you can do it in 3.5 years, where if you go across the border, even with the Central and Eastern Europe, it will take you much more time and effort. What are those prerequisites for that? First of all, we have a buy-in from Ukrainian government stakeholders and the local communities for supporting these projects. Of course, with pros and cons, sometimes you always have a need to establish from the very beginning the good dialogue with the local communities. They are the key partners on the ground to make this project successful. So we always build this community engagement from the first early stage as we are looking on those projects. Another thing is a lot of the regulation went through in Ukraine, including since the start of the war, was the land issues and the other permitting that make the process more straightforward and clear. And the third thing is the grid capacity, which is one of the, I would say, the most prized asset now in the South and Eastern Europe. And I really want to thank Ukrenergo for their excellent work in streamlining this process. And I think the recent changes to the legislation that introduced the escrow account for the booking of capacity and then the prepayment of the grid capacity will gradually help to get rid of those overbookings. We're still seeing the figures from Ukrenergo of 8 gigawatt of wind, but altogether over 10 gigawatt of the booked capacity. And we let's be realistic, 100% of those projects won't be realized. But I think for the whole market and for those who seriously invest in the sector in Ukraine, having this real understanding of the available capacity is one of the most important drivers as we look on the new project and especially on the development stage. So once again, thanks to all of our legislators and Ukrenergo, because if you look on the other markets, for example, like in Romania is switching from the next year to the auctions for the grid, because they have so overrun intentions and kind of theoretically booked capacity that's now it's really like the new development is literally blocked because there is no available and capacity, and all the capex for the projects are becoming extremely expensive, which breaks all the profitability of the projects. But also on the other side, what are the challenges? I think we were talking a lot about them. Of course, the war. Of course, the war risks is something which is at the cornerstone of any of the decision making. What we see on the market now is that there are both the existing companies like Elementum, like Skatek, who continue to be present in Ukraine and continue to grow. There are the newcomers to the market, like the recent deal with EBRD, with Galnaftogaz, the new player in the wind sector, investing, but we don't see much of the foreign capital on the equity side coming to Ukraine, which will limit the market growth. Because thanks to the facilities that the IFIs, the EBRD, the IFC are providing, on the funding side itself, there is a room for growth, but on the equity side, especially from the foreign investors, we see that this is the gap to be addressed. And I think these discussions we have now that will benefit. What we hear, of course, is the war risk. And the war risk insurance, it's one of the most important instrument to address those risks. If we want the sector to be developed not only by Ukrainian companies, but also to have the foreign equity coming into the market. And the second thing is PPA. From our experience in the other markets, sometimes you're like a buyer of RTB project wants you to secure the PPA. So they will have like a putting the equity and then the finance to the fully packaged projects. And on most of these markets, corporate PPAs are available and quite natural. On the other side, we see in Romania, thanks to the big support of EBRD that is playing on that market, they started the CFD auctions. And as a result, they saw quite a significant decrease in pricing for those projects who were like during the bidding period, but also which made the projects more bankable. In reality, like the corporate PPAs in Ukraine, it's still a way to go. So that's why the instrument of price mitigation we have been discussing, including yesterday here, it's important as a first step to unlock the bankability for the projects and a bit of the risking of this new equity coming to the projects. And the third thing is the different types of the finance for the projects. Except of IFIs, we see more involvement of the export credit agencies who support, I can talk like on the wind market, who support the wind turbine producers, whether it's Denmark, whether it's Germany, which is also a win-win for the projects in Ukraine. On the development side, there are also some of the risking incentives, because still it's a costly project, it's a timeline, and then you put the grid connection fees ahead, so still the investment. From our side, we also grateful to our Norwegian government, to NORAD, because they partly the risk and supported our coming back to Ukrainian market. And if to summarize, we all understand, and that was also presented in the previous panels, that there is not only the big potential for renewable development in Ukraine, but a big need and kind of the urgent need to start the construction of the projects. And in order to unlock, I think we need altogether like a focus on, I would say, two main pillars. This is the war risks and the price mitigation instrument that's needs to be to unlock more equity capital coming. Because this equity capital is already across the border. We see in Poland, we see in Romania, we see in Slovakia. There are already a lot of, those companies backed by infrastructure funds, by big private equity funds who are already across the border. So I think fixing those two things, at least for the western part of Ukraine, we can unlock the equity investors coming to the market.
Thank you, Yuliia. So as you see, there are projects coming. There are still in development different technologies, and most of the topics that my colleagues highlighted here, for example, offtake and insurance, we will dig as deep as we can in our following panels after the lunch. So I don't think that we will stop on that, but you can hear how pressing it is, because there are projects ready to build on the market. For example, there are around 4 gigawatt of wind projects currently existing in the country. And projects of my colleagues here are one of those. All of them are struggling to attract funding. So that's why we have been working a lot on the risking instrument for the offtake. We are constantly working with our colleagues on different insurance mechanism, including war insurance, because that's what actually private sector needs. Also, we have been talking about the regulatory issues, and that's the topic that we all love. I don't think that we will stop on that a lot, but maybe there is something that, not even the low-hanging fruit, but something that maybe stops you on the regulatory level that can be fixed, and you want to highlight that, because we had Mr. Andrak just today. He wanted us to gather some proposals and some wishes from the private sector. So colleagues, just very short, what would you need from the Ukrainian government, for example, as of now, to move forward, or the insurance is actually the biggest part of the bottleneck, and you wouldn't want something to fix on the regulatory level significantly? Maybe we will start with Victoria.
So I think that for us it's important ongoing cooperation regarding a number of technicalities, because of course devil is in detail, so the support and dialogue is important. We are grateful that there is the initiative, and we hope that it will be supported for the VAT exemptions for the and we hope that the wind turbines components will be included, because previously it went. And maybe one thing that is usually currently overlooked, but is also important for the new players that will be migrating from the EU to Ukraine, just price liberalization. So think about price caps, and just making them how they work in EU would be good, or just abolishing them, that would liberalize the market. We think that would be beneficial for moving forward.
Yeah. Well, we are talking about that a lot, and we as association are constantly highlighting this issue for our colleagues at the government.
I think from my perspective, I would also reiterate on the topic of VAT exemption, right? So it's really important that this law is extended. I understand the government is currently considering it, so yeah, the industry would welcome it a lot. So yeah, the potential or the additional extension of VAT exemption and custom duties exemption, so including all technologies, wind, solar, BESS. So I think it's really important for us. One additional element that we are looking right now is in conjunction with a hybrid project, so including BAS. So our understanding is that there is right now a double charge system in terms of discharge and charging costs. So if you charge from the grid, so if you have a hybrid project, so you're basically double penalized, whereas if you have a standalone project, so you have a net metering scheme. So, and this is prohibitive right now to the hybrid projects in the country, which are so badly needed. Understanding is also that the law is currently in the parliament, so we would welcome a lot and support the swift passing of this law to enable our further investments, because again, so this is a key in all economic calculations and the cases. So,
thank you.
I would probably more like focus not only on the technicalities, because I think a lot of was done even since the start of the war is for the developer to like streamline the procedures, including with the land. But from the experience of the other markets, I think it's important to support like first on the grid. Why I'm saying it, because it's a really big pain for all the renewable development in the Eastern and Southern Europe. It's like a big, and in the Central Europe as well. So like for Ukrenergo as the system operator to be able to have enough funding and enough capacity to repair and continue the grid modernization is strategically if we want to achieve those goals, which Ukrenergo also presented to us. This is one of the kind of a key importance to enable us as the representatives from the renewable sector to be able to invest and bring projects to the completion.
Thank you. So that's actually it from our side. We have to wrap up, but I really encourage you to talk with my colleagues during the lunch or during the coffee breaks, because these are basically the companies that are working on the ground in Ukraine, and they know very well how it is to develop projects, how to implement them, how to attract funding. These are actually the topics that I think everybody is interested in. So I thank you very much, ladies. That was very interesting. Thank you for sharing your insights. And I sincerely want to wish your project to be implemented as soon as possible without with as little as possible of bottlenecks, and we are here to support you. Thank you. And we have one small part of the event that we wanted to have here just before you go to lunch. So colleagues, you can oh, sorry. No worries. So yeah, as we've said at the beginning of our event, and we were starting with the moment of silence because Ukraine is still fighting this existential war, and every event that we have, we are trying to have the charity part. We are supporting very much Leleka Foundation, which was co-founded by our board member Yuri Kubrushko. I want to welcome him on stage to have a very short remark on this regard. Thank you, Yura.
Thank you very much. It will be just very brief elevator pitch, and then we'll show you a small video about our work. But in very few words, we have been doing this for 11 years. We are supporting Ukrainian field medics which work in frontline areas where they provide first emergency medical aid to both civilians and military personnel, Ukrainian soldiers. We have been doing this in 3 teams in USA, in Europe, and with quite a big office in Ukraine. Our unique feature, which is not very common for medium and big foundations, we have direct retail. We are providing vast majority of supplies directly to medics based on what everybody needs. So we have network, I think it's approaching now by around 5,000 medics whom we know, whom we helped, with whom we continue to operate and help them to restock. We have raised since beginning of invasion around $13 million, which we converted already into supplies, which have been vast majority of those, unfortunately, was used already, and it's like never-ending uphill battle because whatever we transfer is being used in a number of days or weeks. That's why there is constant need, and that's why we always welcome any support in donations, and we are grateful to all of you who have been doing this for years and supporting us. So I will stop here and then video.
Про війну, на жаль, я знаю не з новин. У 2014 році до Києва приїхала з Луганська. Мій брат зараз на війні. Я не можу залишатись осторонь, тому що хочу колись потрапити в батьківський дім.
Я тут, бо мої друзі, однолітки зараз на фронті. Я б дуже хотіла, аби вони скоріше повернулися додому, до батьків, до коханих своїх, живими і здоровими. Бо за такими, як я, за такими, як ми всі, наше майбутнє.
Ну, власне, я тут вже більше 10 років. Більше 10 років від початку війни допомагаю армії, займаюся саме медициною, тактичною медициною. І це вже дуже велика частина мого життя. І життя, і порятунок, і здоров'я наших військових – це велика частина мого взагалі життєвого досвіду. І дуже багато людей, з якими я працювала, і працювала багато років, і була з ними знайома, їх вже, на жаль, немає. Тому це вже все давно стало таким дуже особистим, в тому числі. Ну і в мене маленька донечка, їй 4 роки, і я роблю те, що вмію і можу для того, щоб вона жила в себе вдома, жила в Україні і не мусила тікати від війни по всьому світу. Ходила в українську школу і розмовляла українською мовою. Власне, все.
Я тут, тому що я вважаю за честь для себе допомагати армії, робити щось для них корисне. І я вважаю, що я ніколи не віддам цей борг, який я за їм завинила, за те, що я маю змогу жити в вільному місті, маю можливість радіти життю. І люди, які там, я думаю, відчувають теж цю частку тепла, яку ми вкладаємо в кожен цей рюкзак, кожну річ, яка їде до них на фронт. І я вважаю, що це саме головне, щоб вони відчули, що за ними хтось є. І я вважаю, що це найголовніше. І ми командою робимо це дійсно щиро і дійсно з великим бажанням. Тому я тут.
Я тут, бо ти або на фронті, або для фронту. Наразі інших пріоритетів у мене немає.
Вірю, що я тут не випадково. Взагалі з тактичною медициною познайомилась в лютому 22-го, коли всі мої друзі почали складати такмет всім військовим нашим друзям, які пішли на фронт, абсолютно не маючи ніяких засобів для порятунку життів. Пізніше я продовжила працювати з онкохворими дітьми, з дітьми-сиротами. І начебто війна була дуже далеко від мене, допоки не загинув мій наречений. І відтоді я не залишила дітей, не покинула їх, звичайно, продовжую з ними працювати. А хочу, щоб кожен бойовий медик, а мій Женя був бойовим медиком, щоб кожен бойовий медик мав засоби, щоб він міг врятувати побратимів, близьких йому людей, тому я тут.
Мене звати Володимир, мені 29 років. Родом я з Борщівщини, що на Тернопільщині. Зараз ветеран російсько-української війни. Поранення отримав у 23-му році, коли виконували завдання на Вагнерському напрямку. Ми тоді працювали більше з дронами, в тому плані працювали. І, відповідно, вороги теж працювали з дронами досить активно. І біля мене так сталося, що біля мене вибухнув боєприпас від дрона, і мені зачепили сильну руку, загальному дуже сильно посікло уламками від боєприпасу, і отак якось сталося. Для мене це сталося просто як проблиск світла, можна сказати, це був один момент, і то важко щось сказати. Мої побратими, одразу ті, хто зміг до мене добратися, вони наклали турнікети. Чи ще? Досить в загальному, такмет, що в нас було, це в нас такмет постійно, вчили і знову ж таки вчили. І дійсно хлопці дуже швидко все зробили, наклали турнікети, зробили все, що могли на той час на полі, і постаралися забрати мене звідти якнайшвидше. Так. Турнікет – це 100% такий розхідник, який в першу чергу, в принципі, використовується. Думаю, навіть при любому, навіть не легкому пораненні. І коли, до прикладу, навіть моя історія, коли зі мною сталося поранення, в мене був один турнікет на грудях. І коли вибухнув боєприпас, мій турнікет перебило. Тобто, якщо б я не мав запасного, якщо б в мене не було тої потреби, ми старалися мати більше, ніж 2, ніж 3 навіть в загальному. Якщо б не було іншого, тобто в мене була б ситуація дуже плачевна. Мабуть, що всього не вистачає. Можу сказати, це 100%. Це і в своєму підрозділі переконався, і коли з хлопцями, де стикався, де, до прикладу, піхота в загальному, мабуть, найбільш страждає від цього, де інколи хлопці навіть не мають аптечок своїх спакованих. Тобто, в мене в голові не вкладалося такого, щоб ти йдеш на бойові дії і в тебе немає своєї аптечки. Тобто це було дійсно для мене таким шоком. І не завжди у всіх, навіть в підрозділах, думаю, є тактичний медик, який може саме використовувати більше щось, ніж цей. Відповідно, навіть якщо є цей тактичний медик, то він, відповідно, не завжди має чим оперувати, не завжди є необхідна кількість всього того, і тому, кажу, завжди цього всього не вистачає.
Надзвичайно вдячний Leica Foundation за підгончик по медицині. Ви красавчики, ви зробили це дуже вчасно і більше, ніж я просив. Ця вся медицина зараз працює.
Thank you, Yuri. Thank you all. Now you can support the Leica Foundation, of course. You can find the QR codes on your badges as well, so no worries if you cannot do that right now, but please do. That is very, very much needed. And now you can go to lunch. Have a good time.